What's up, guys? Mike Patrick, Most High, be with me on this video. And so in this video, guys, I'm going to ask the question: spiritual psychosis, mental illness, or shamanic initiation? Now, this video is going to be for you guys who may possibly be shaman, okay? And you don't necessarily know it, okay? Because you may have come up in an environment and in a society that does not nurture or acknowledge your situation as such, okay? Now, but like most of my videos, especially lately, I want to give this perspective and perception, okay? I'm not saying that you are a shaman. I'm not saying that I'm a shaman, okay? Like anything else in life, guys, all of us have some form of natural talent. Just things that naturally are conducive to us, okay, and that we fit the mold, and that it is somewhat along the lines of just who we are and what we are likely to be good at, okay? We call it talent, right? And we say everybody has their gifts, everybody has their talents, just things that they naturally, you know what I mean, once they find it, if they find it, that they gravitate to, that seem to come more easy to them as opposed to someone else's talent and what comes easy to them, right? Now, guys, there's some of you guys who you have experienced certain things, right? And in the world and the culture that we live in, many of you have just been written off as mentally ill, possibly. And I'm not saying this is the thing. You might as well be considered mentally ill and crazy if you are not able to work with and harness and cultivate the energy that many people would consider to be making you crazy or appear crazy, right? If people perceive you that way. What I would say is this: some of you have extrasensory perceptions, right? That you just may not know how to handle if you do not have the proper nurturing, coaching, and guidance. And in the culture that we live in, you may not be identified correctly. Therefore, you may never get the guidance and the nurturing and the support that you need in order for you to manifest and to actualize who you are supposed to be, and especially in relationship to other people. Because if you are a shaman, if you are destined to be a shaman, if you are a shaman in initiation or training, whether it is formal or informal, right? You have to work with, you have to do the work that you are supposed to do on yourself. Recognize your gift, okay? But do the work on yourself and do the things that you take, the steps that you are supposed to take. Do the things that you are supposed to do, so you can in turn help other people, okay, who may be going through the same thing, or in turn help other people in general who may not be going through the same thing. See, this is the thing. I don't know how many authentic, true shamans there are in the world that is born in every generation or something like that, right? So the thing is, it's not necessarily a shaman's responsibility or calling to just coach other shamans, right? And guide other shamans or potential shamans. The idea is for you to take your abilities of having extrasensory perceptions, right? And the ability to communicate or identify, I don't want to say identify, to communicate and perceive and tap into other realms of thought, perception, ideas, and possibly worlds and dimensions, if you want to. It all depends on the words you want to use, okay? And I know I talk slow, and for some of you guys, hopefully the ones of you who watch my videos understand that I do a lot of what you consider channeling and pulling in what I'm saying. And so it's not meant for me to just be rambling and just going off fast. And I understand to some people, or a lot of people, that could be frustrating. They feel like they want you to move faster. But if you notice, I'm very careful with my words and I take my time. And it may take a little time to pull in what you're pulling in. So, and really, if we think about it, most of us, it would serve us better as far as digesting and absorbing information if people slowed down and took their time and talk like this, because it can make you consider every word and what the person is saying. You see what I mean? And really absorb it. And I don't think I'd be going so slow to where it's just like, I just can't do this. You see what I'm saying? Unless the videos really ain't meant for you anyway. But if it is meant for you, if my material resonates with you and things like that, it's nothing for you, and you probably prefer the pace that I go at when I speak. All right, getting off that. Like I said, guys, if you're not able to merge the things that you pick up on with this world and the people of this world, if you're not able to make your perceptions and the things that the communication that you get and the information that you get make sense in this world and to people of this world, then what value do you have to this world? Okay? Now, the thing is there's more of you down here at one time right now, based on the fact that we are in what you consider a merger and a change. But it's not for us, what I realize, or what I'm coming around to, is it's not for us to just say the hell with the old world altogether, the hell with the old people altogether and the way they think and how they think and the way they are. And you can get frustrated, you can get frustrated, just like how they can be frustrated with you and not have patience with you and all that type of stuff for the longest time. People like you, it's real easy for you to feel the same way about them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, in all solitude or solitude and solidarity, because really solitude, because you do want to have a clear conscience. and say that you tried. And in solidarity, you got to realize that everybody that ain't like you ain't bad. And everybody that can't see like you and can't think like you and can't tap into the things that you tap into ain't necessarily inferior, ain't necessarily bad, and all those types of things that some thoughts that may come across, or some way, you know what I mean, and things like that. Because in some ways you're inferior to them, the way that things are set up. In some ways, like, things have been set up here in a lot of ways to make you appear to be inferior to them. Once they have, you gotta think, man, they've been studying you type of people for a long time. You see what I'm saying? And they know what works for you and what doesn't, and things like that. And a lot of things have been set up to make you look like the inferior one. With that said, guys, you have to, I ain't gonna say you have to, you don't have to do anything. But what I think we are meant to do, if, and in turn myself, if it is preordained for me to eventually be what you would consider a shaman, I think we are supposed to be helping other people and taking our otherworldly perceptions, otherworldly ideas, otherworldly communications, otherworldly experiences, and merging it with this world in order to help other people with things that they couldn't figure out, and things that they couldn't get past, and things they couldn't overcome, and things like that, based off of our gifts. Okay? Now, from another thing is, a lot of times the reason I speak kind of slow is because the reason I be trying to really, really pick my words is because not only am I a lot of times pulling words, so it might take a second for the download, you know what I mean, to buffer and things like that. It might take a little longer than just somebody just blurting out stuff, right? But also, I want to make sure that I'm not, I be trying to make sure I'm not being offended. I be always considering the fact that you don't know who could be looking at your video. You don't know what type of people could be looking at your video. And you don't want to unnecessarily come across as offensive. Understanding that it's going to always be somebody to take offense to you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's people who know things that, you know what I mean, that other people don't know and stuff. And some people just going to hate you just because. You know what I mean? I had a boxing coach who told me that, my first boxing coach who told me, I might have mentioned that before in another video, but he was like, and I didn't understand at the time, it just seemed like something he was just saying. I was like, man, whatever. You know what I mean? But he was like, Mike, people gonna hate you. No, and I don't care how mild-mannered you are, how respectful you are, because I always came across that. I've always been that way, especially to like adults and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I ain't saying I ain't had my moments and I ain't made my mistakes and I ain't been a butthole to other, you know what I mean, to people my age and people who I was comfortable around circle, being a kid and being a bully sometimes and all the stuff that some kids can do sometimes. I told you I made my mistakes. All right, but in a lot of regards too, I've always been a very meek, humble, respectful, some people would consider bashful, kind of, you know what I mean, kind of guy. And then and so the coach, he was like, Mike, I don't care how much you try to be like that, it's gonna still be some people who are going to hate you regardless. Okay, so I be understanding that too, and I still do what I have to do on these videos, because I understand that no matter how I try to come across, you know what I mean, it's going to be somebody that's going to find a way to not like me, because that's already predetermined in their head that we are not going to like this guy. You see what I'm saying? Or we're not going to agree with this guy. We're not going to see his point of view and all those types of things. So some of you have to evaluate what choice you're going to make. Are you going to be timelines? Okay. Well, not are you going to be timelines? I gotta stop doing that in videos. Not are you going to be timelines, but what I was saying is, are you going to be, and I stopped a sentence there, and then I was going to timelines. So timelines, guys, you have to ask yourself, are you going to be just somebody who they gift might as well be they curse because they didn't do the work they were supposed to do, okay, in order to take their extrasensory perceptions and harness them in a way that can be productive to not only themselves but other people, so you can have a purpose and not just totally disregard old people and say, you know, the hell with that, you know, I got a purpose, you know what I mean? And, you know, but look at it this way. Look at it like you trying to help other people. It's other people that you have to bring out of them what has been brought out of you. And because some people are relying on you to do that. See, some things that might come natural to you, it might also be a talent and a destiny and a gift of somebody else, but they might not have no inspiration and no guidance and no, so I guess I say inspiration, no reason in this, and you know what I mean, the world that we have been living in, no reason to come out and realize that, you see what I'm saying, about themselves, and to harness it and to cultivate it, okay? Like I said, now I think we have a certain amount of help here that we just got to do what we are supposed to do, okay? And we'll come into a world where they'll realize your value and appreciate you, and then you can appreciate them, because it will be more like a merger, and especially in the more recent future. You know what I mean? Who knows what it'll look like completely 100 years from now, but let's say the next 20, 25 years, you know what I mean? It's still probably going to be some semblance of, you know, how things are now, while it will be changed in a lot of ways, just like how things are a lot different in a lot of ways than it was from 25 years ago. But in some ways and to some degree, things are pretty much the same. You know what I mean? So it'll be like that. So some of you find yourself here and waking up and going through certain things at this particular point in time, so you can make a choice too. Am I just going to be considered some crazy guy? Or am I going to harness this? Or some crazy girl? Or am I going to harness this and make all this make sense in a way that can not only benefit and help me, but benefit and help other people, okay? Because there will be a lot, and a lot of you, the reason why so many people that have extrasensory perceptions are considered crazy and things like that is because they had no real guidance, no way, no structure, no intention on, you know what I mean, and things like that. And some people are just born overly stimulated, but some of you are gifted and are blessed enough to not be born too stimulated to where you just outright considered crazy, just like, you know what I mean, it ain't no, you know what I'm saying, you know, some people it's just like, whoa, you know what I mean, all the time, 24/7 and things like that, and it's just like, whoa. And then some people it's like, you know, well, I can see how this person, and that's how you gauge it, like you be like, this is, you know what I mean, this is somebody who appears to be able to operate how we operate, but at the same time it is something different about them, you know what I'm saying, like, and then a lot of times what happens with people, like I said, they might be born over the edge, or certain things happen. They might be predisposed to certain things, and then if they do things like maybe take drugs or something like that, and it can take them over the edge of them, they not focus a certain way, if they not learning certain things, if they're not trained to have the proper perspective and have the proper intent and the proper disciplines and stuff like that, because it's a lot of how we are and what we're capable of has to do with things that's why you always used to see me talk about, you know what I mean, certain health things and stuff like that, because our consumption has a lot to do with how we express our abilities, okay? You know what I mean? So you have to be careful about, you know what I mean, and be conscious and aware about what you put into your body, what you put into your mind and stuff like that, okay? All forms of consumption, okay? Because it's going to, your abilities, okay, it's going to manifest your gifts, what you have is going to manifest. How it manifests determines how you discipline yourself. So if you ain't learning them, you just this person, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you this person who just, and you ain't learning nothing, you ain't, you know what I mean? You eating wrong, you drugging, you doing this, you doing that. You know what I mean? A lot of what you, being that you are, a lot of you guys, or some of you guys, the ones I'm talking about, being that you are extra sensitive and extra perceptual and things like that. See, what you got to realize is everything that you perceive and pick up on and that may influence you ain't always benevolent. Okay? Now, this is when don't judge me, and don't, this video is not for the religious. Because you're just going to say it's demons. But, I'm going to say that there's all kind of forces and life forms and energies that, occupy the same space that we occupy that the average person is just not privy to, okay? And with your gift to be extra sensitive and extra perceptual and things like that, and when those gates open and when you open up, everything that come through might not be what humanity would deem benevolent. Benevolent. It wouldn't be what most of, or a lot of humanity would deem benevolent, okay? And that's part of a shaman from what because like I said, I'm not considering myself a shaman in this moment, right? But from some of the research that I've been doing, as I've been led to research stuff like this, is, shamans, that's part of their responsibility. They got it because they're able to be like a antenna and pick up on different channels and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They may encounter some stuff. You see what I'm saying? It ain't always pretty. It ain't always, you got, if you believe in stuff like this, like I said, because like I'm not talking to the religious. So if you believe that you got ancestors, you got all kinds of energies, okay, to be influenced by, and most of us are closed off to it. And so sometimes you can encounter and have interactions and things like that with these different energies, and if you don't know how to handle it, if you're not all the way initiated, and a part of it is part of your initiation, you go through certain things, so the next time you could be like, okay, I get, it's part of your initiation, for some of you guys. That's why I say, possibly I'm an initiate at this moment, possibly, you know what I mean? So what you guys have to do is to realize that if you are a shaman is supposed to be a person that the community can go to for insight, wisdom, and healing and things of this nature, when they can't go anywhere else for it. They need the community values your perception and your insight, okay, and the abilities and the strength that you have. But you have to fully realize that. Or you can just be some guy on the corner that appears to just be talking to himself or something like that, right? So you have to, as a lot of you know, and when you get to a certain level and a certain perception, you understand timelines, right? So it's not a question of whether you are a shaman or whether you are just mentally ill or driven crazy, you know what I'm saying, by other forces or something like that, right? It's a question of you may have come around to realize there's different timelines, different dimensions, different possibilities and outcomes. And part of your test and part of your journey may be which timeline you're going to put yourself on. All right. Hopefully this was a helpful video, guys. Peace.